Hey guys, here's what we're working on tonight. I got my extra Foxbody seats for the 92. I have two pairs of front seats, and what we're trying to do is we're going to see if we can make two really nice seats out of four. So check this out. So I got a better headrest. I got over there, so that's good. We're going to use that. I got the passenger front seat in the 92 sitting on the driver's side just so I can move the car around. And that seat's in pretty good shape. I had a vinyl repair on this part of the passenger seat, but the piping on it is like this. It's still in pretty good shape. Now this is also a passenger seat, as we can see. Because this is in pretty good shape, it's just dirty, what I want to attempt to do is to take this cushion and put it on this driver's seat base, because the foam is in really good shape. I might have to take some foam out of this area on this part. I'm going to try and mix and match stuff, but I really want to get a decent pair of seats out of the four. And I'm looking at, which cushions have the least amount of wear, which headrests look the best, which knee bolsters that pull out. The one that's in the car right now had a repair on a cigarette burn. I have a good one right over there. So we're going to use that one, that knee bolster. They just slide in. There's a couple roll pins that hold it in. The piping is worn through on this one and worn through on that one. So those uprights, they're not going to be used. I was thinking of selling these other seats. I'll put them back together the best I can. People can use them as parts just like I did. But man, if you ever need a seat, where do you go? What do you do? At least if you really had to, you could take any part of these seats. Like, say if you end up getting a hole in the center section, you could take it to a upholstery shop and they could unsew it and sew a piece in from another seat. Stuff like this, 10, 20 years ago, 10 or 15 years ago, it wasn't a big deal. Now try and find it. So even though I'm going to graft these seats together, I don't think I'm going to throw these seats out or sell them, because if a guy ever needed something, you'd be kind of hooped if when it comes down to it. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to take and try and turn this into a driver's seat. So I'm going to pull this apart. We're going to see how it looks and see if we could actually turn our passenger seat into a driver's seat, because man, the cushions are in nice shape. And once they get shampooed, they're going to look terrific. So let's get into it. Okay, here's what we did so far. These white nylon clips, I undid those. This just pops out. You put a flat screwdriver in each little area here. This little bezel, this comes out. There's your Phillips screwdrivers to get this undone. This here, this knob, just has a Allen head. You loosen off and it comes off from the side bolster support. Anyways, this is coming undone quite nicely. Maybe. I think it's just, there, it's off. Let's see if this unplugs here. Just might. So here's what we got. We carefully undid this from down here. You can see the connector. And these vacuum lines just pulled out from the vacuum dump right here. So looks like there's a little hog ring to undo here and here. Other than that, you'd undo the 2 hog rings. This will be able to come undone. And of course we have the vacuum line runs through there. So this one isn't bad, but the cushion is, there's a bit of wear here. It's not bad. I've seen worse. I might still be able to use this. But this other one looks just that much better. The cushion just seems that much nicer. Well, we'll take it apart, see what happens. I think what I've decided to do after just looking at this a bit closer, if we can repair this foam underneath here, just to give it that nice amount of cushion, because this is so much better than this one. But let's see what we can do. If we clean this, maybe I'll clean them both, see which one looks the best, but I'm going to pull this up and see how it looks underneath here. Flipping this upside down, here's a little tip that I used to do over the years. See how the wires have embedded themselves and sliced into this cushion? What I used to do is I take a pair of pliers. These are, just give them a little twist, and it tightens them up, and it'll make it sit on an area different than what it was used to sitting on. Like I said, don't break the wires, but it'll actually make the seat not sink down as much, because, and another thing you can do is on the foam, you could actually put another piece of foam underneath here, just so it doesn't ride into this foam. So I give it a little bit of a kink, and then it would tighten things up. It would make the seat not feel so sagged out. It would actually be a vast improvement. I guess until you know how a seat goes together, it's really not a fun job. Here's what I found out. There's a couple of hog rings that go into these. These are for the side bolsters. And there's these rods that are in here. So there's hog rings that go onto there. Now, I don't know how. They must put them in. It's not fun. Let's face it, if you have new hog rings and hog ring pliers. But what happened here was the foam eventually splits, and it was starting to wear a hole in the material. So it's actually not through the material yet, it's through the backing. The material is actually still good. We could save this. So if we build up this foam, and then I've seen where they glue this stuff together with like a contact cement, then they kind of put a long patch over it to keep it nice and secure. So then when you put the base back in, you'll have to hold it up and put those hog rings on these rods. And actually, one thing they did have, the material has this piping in here. I'll call it piping. And there's these long rods that you would just pull these long rods out, and it went through this piping to hold it in place. And then there's just some hog rings in the center section to hold this on. So I'm going to see if I can repair this foam. How does this other side look? Well, this other side's going to be fine. It's just cracked. So that could be salvaged as well too. Let's face it, we're dealing with 30-plus-year-old seat material. But really, this can be salvaged. This is actually, I might not have to take this apart. If I could build this up, if I could make this good again, then we're in business. We can put this back together. Okay, just got into the shop from overnight, and here's where we're at on the seats. I had glued this crack closed, and I taped it just to hold it together. Let's pull this apart and see how. What I'm going to do is, as you can see, it's indented right here. I'm likely going to take my sander and sand this smooth, and then get some more foam to put over top of here and glue it on, a thin piece of foam, maybe wrap it around. And I got to take care of this indentation in here too. So there's a little bit of work to do. I'm going to get it to look more like this side. This side I had to glue as well. What I'll do is I'll sand this down, get it smoother, and then I'll put a piece of foam in here. I'll glue it in, and it'll get rid of this indentation. This side isn't so bad because you're not really going to see it so much because it's the against the center console. But the thing to also do on the back side is to put some kind of a sleeve in here, have it come around, like to have it come down and back up, so the little bolsters here don't wear another hole in the top of the seat cushion. I don't want it to end up like the other side. I want to make sure this is nice, smooth transition. So that's what we're going to work on next. I watched a few videos, and guys are just taking a orbital sander with about 40 grit, and they would take the high spots out, smoothen it out, and then they'd add fabric to it or add foam to it, glue it on. It helps reinforce everything, and we'll make this side look better as well too. I'll fix that crack up. It's amazing how well this contact cement works. It's holding much better than I expected. So there's that rod in there, and we'll put cloth around it so it doesn't wear into the seat foam anymore. And I can't wait to shampoo this. This is going to look amazing because look, our piping, how good it is. Everything is really good in this area. I'm actually really surprised. I think it's going to come out much like this. So this is just basically dust and dirt. There's some staining, but we'll get rid of that. So I'd get working on the Mustang stuff, but I've got other obligations. We've been working on lots of Kias lately. I work at a dealership, and we're preparing this one. We're detailing it and did a little bit of mechanical on it. I can't wait. We'll get some of these dealership cars out of the way. I could get the Mustang back in, get the 92 back in, do some more work to the 95. It's just begging to be taken out from underneath that cover. It's been long enough. It's been hibernating long enough, and I just want to get the engine back into it because summer's going to be here before you know it. So anyways, that's where we're at with the seat. Hey, there's only so many of these seats around, and I drove to Winnipeg, Manitoba to pick up a set of seats, and it was totally worth it. I'm really glad that Mustang Rob in Winnipeg found these seats for me, and I was able to scoop them. It really was a big help. I really don't want to flip for the reproduction stuff. I'm not saying it's not good or it's whatever, but some of us, hey guys, you know, when we get into these cars, like, it's a big rabbit hole. The budget gets increased, but that's just how it is. So we're trying to make do with what we have and restore what we can, just to keep the costs down, because it's really easy to get out of hand with stuff. But anyways, I'll get going on the little car in the background and get some time to work on that seat some more.